Hello there. Welcome to this episode of Nerd Talks on Nerd.World films. Now, I'm breaking with my schedule a little bit here. I was going to upload Star Trek 2, but I really had an urge to do this movie, so we're going to be doing All Dogs Go to Heaven. Now, if you were expecting Star Trek 2, it'll be up. I'm just doing this one first. So, that said, if you like this video or any others on my channel, please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you think the video deserves it. And please check out my other channel, Nerd.World. There's a link in the description below. It's fairly similar to this one, but it's a bit more general. Now, let's get started. All Dogs Go to Heaven, if you're not familiar with it, is a 1989 children's comedy animated classic. It's, from my childhood, one of the best films I ever saw as a child. I used to love this. I had it on VHS. The basic story is about a kind of shifty dog. Think of him as a bit like the Tramp from Lady and the Tramp. He's a bit crooked, he's a bit untrustworthy, but he's generally lovable. He breaks out of the dog pound and goes to reunite with his partner Carface, who runs basically a dog casino. Carface then betrays him because, he's evil, and he gets drowned in a car and finds himself at the pearly gates. But not really wanting to be dead and wanting his revenge, he weasels his way back to Earth, where he befriends a little girl who happens to be able to talk to animals. And between the two of them, he goes out for his revenge, but he learns a few lessons along the way about friendship and how protecting the little girl is more important than getting his own back on Carface, and he has to protect the little girl ultimately, and his other friends, from Carface's machinations and attempts to kill all of them, basically, to rid himself once and for all of these problems. The film is very lovable, it's very enjoyable, and has a fantastic voice talents. The film was made by the director Don Bluth, but it has people like Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, all doing the voice talents, plus the late Judith Barsi playing the little girl. Now the film is, as I say, it's a fantastic film to watch. It's aged really well, particularly considering it's a period setting. It's set back in, and basically it's set like I think it's the 1930s, so it doesn't need to age badly. Like a lot of the time, these films they'll be set in the 80s and they'll have references to computer consoles or whatever, you know what I mean, the kind of stuff that makes them age badly. But because this thing was always set further back than when it was made, it's aged really well and is a very enjoyable movie. Now, considering the reputation of films that, I know it's animated, but films that star kids and animals tend to be really can be irritating or a little jarring. This one, it manages to be both really entertaining, teach you, or at least your kids anyway, a life lesson. It's got a morality tale to it, while at the same time being somewhat heartbreaking and heartwarming at once. It is a phenomenally well written, well paced film, massively underrated, overshadowed by bigger Disney movies of the time and other studios. But this is a hidden gem of a film that if you've never seen and your kids haven't seen it, you should really introduce them to it, because it is a beautiful film with a beautiful cast, and it is truly a fantastic film. I grew up on films like this and others, and when I was a kid I always struggled with what is Disney and what isn't Disney. For some reason I always just think any animated film was a Disney movie, but this one is clearly not Disney, although it does have some shades of things like Lady and the Tramp vibes and things like that to it. But it has got such a well-made script, and it is such a well-made film. And one of the reasons why I felt a need to do this right now is because I recently came across a video on a channel called Criminally Listed, which, if I remember, I'll link it below, which was about actors who were murdered. And I found out, to my genuine pain, and it was horrifying. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's not really the purpose of this video, but the little girl Judith Barsi that did the voice of Anne-Marie was murdered not long before this film was released. She'd finished the voice work for this film, but her own father murdered her, and it's disgusting. It's truly horrifying. And then it makes me watch this film with new eyes, just how sad, it adds another layer of tragedy to this film. A film that I grew up on and I thought was just such a wonderful film, to have such a horrifying behind the scenes fact about it, moved me to make this video. I felt a need, I had to do a video on it, which I am dedicating to that little girl's memory, because it is so sad what happened to her. It's unjust and unbelievable that anyone would do that to their own daughter, let alone a 10-year-old little girl to begin with. As I say, that's getting off topic and it's not really where I want to go. Now, generally speaking, as I said, I grew up on this film. I have very fond memories of it, and maybe I've got rose-tinted goggles for it a little bit, but I genuinely believe it is one of the finest made animated films ever made, and the villains are both comical and entertaining and scary as a child. I remember Carface, because he's basically a pit bull or an English bulldog. I'm not entirely sure of the animation style and everything, but he's actually kind of scary. It's like I said, he's there smoking his cigar and he's really aggressive and manipulative and untrustworthy, and he's a wonderful villain. And Burt Reynolds doing the voice of Charlie, the main hero dog of the movie. I mean, Burt Reynolds elevated anything he was in. He was a massively underrated actor, and he brings such fun and lightheartedness to a role. Effectively, he's a dead dog, but you know, like, you're rooting for him. He's so good. His charisma and his charm just ooze through his voice right out the film at you, and I can't praise this film enough. I mean, I'm not saying it just because of the, as I say, the tragic backstory, but it's genuinely a wonderful film, and it's very easy to watch, and I'm sure your kids will love it. I certainly did, and I don't currently own it on DVD. I still only own it on video, but I am going to be buying it for my daughter and showing it to her, because I think it's such a good movie. Now, I'm not going to go on too long about this. I don't want to do spoilers, so watch it. So, with that said, if you liked this video and any others on this channel, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. If you loved this film, did you like its sequel? Because it does have a sequel, and I've seen it, I think, once and wasn't overly impressed. That said, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Probably 20 years ago when I watched the sequel, so maybe it's better than I remember. Let me know in the comments below. Please check out my other channel, Nerd.World, and with that said, bye-bye.